There's all of these things happening, the factions, the talk about price increment, they talk about, impersonation, going to court. All of it started from somewhere, which I believe has to do with the driver's welfare and the customers complaining about, what's the word now? Indiscriminate charges, right? So, how did we get here?
Well, to be candid, it's really, really sad situation.
Okay.
And I must make it very clear that riders are not our enemies. Riders are not even the problem.
You mean the customers?
Our customers are not our enemies. They are not. They are not the problem. I mean, they are also on the receiving end of the economic hardship.
Okay.
All right. All of us are all receiving the tough end of the stick. No carrot is being offered here. However, the union at no point instructed the drivers to add 50% extra on their fare. I'll make it very clear. Now, the union, in addressing this issue, has petitioned the Rivers State House of Assembly. Now, there have been efforts to reach out to these e-hailing companies, several efforts.
Okay.
In fact, we've written letters. I have written letters when I was the state secretary before I became the acting chairman. I have written letters to them. And guess what? Both did not even dignify us with an answer. Uber, on the other hand, said...
Okay. I'm sorry, I would have to pause you. I do have a commercial to pay
All right,
to
very well.
go for. When we return, we'll talk about all of this.
Very well.
All right, then.
Stay with us.
Okay, so it's the bottom of the hour, and things are getting feisty in the studio already. Oof, I'm out of breath. I'm trying my best to calm things. I'm trying to calm the waters. Or is it calm the storm now? But yeah, you're still listening to Hello Port Harcourt on your number one talk radio station, 92.3 Nigeria Info. And with me here in the studio is the acting chairman, River State Chapter, Amalgamated Union of App-Based Transporters of Nigeria, Altan, an affiliate of the Nigeria Labour Congress. That's Comrade Laurentia Chioma Ogu. And we are talking e-hailing in Rivers State, the controversies surrounding that. I am Kalada Korubatbo. And just before the break, she was telling us, what the root problem really is and why things have escalated to the point where, the passengers, the people of Port Harcourt Metropolis, the residents, that is, have to bear the brunt. Welcome back.
Thank you very
Comrade,
much.
I'm out of breath, really. I've been
Thank
running
you.
off several. Anyways, so you were telling us that, yes, the economy is in a dire strait and
Yes,
everybody's
and I said
affected.
that the riders are not our enemies here.
Okay, all right.
And should not be on the receiving end of this entire thing. The riders and the drivers have a common enemy, if I might use that word, and these are the app companies.
How do you mean?
Because now, when you look at the high commission, multi taxation per ride on these rides, it really doesn't make sense. Now, first of all, Bolt, for example, charges 25 to 30% commission. In fact, their commissions are not even stable. They will tell you it's 25%, and sometimes when you calculate the trip, it is as high as 27 to 28%, as it were, right? Now, when they calculate, they take as much as 27% from each trip. Now, Uber, for example, will collect Port Harcourt City Road Development Levy from the driver and still collect the same tax from the rider on the same amount.
So they share between the customer and the driver.
Now, also collect booking fee, then collect booking tax, then collect commission. When you break down what they are, what is embedded, you will find out a whole lot of inconsistencies in it. Now, drivers have cried out, let the prices on the app reflect the current reality.
When you say,
driver.
because I've heard that too many times, when you say let it reflect the current reality, how much percentage increment are we looking at?
Now, what we are looking at, the union is looking at, is reduce your commission first.
Okay.
If the app companies reduce their commission from 27-30% to 10%,
Okay.
for example,
For every ride.
it will make it easier for drivers, right? If they reduce their commission and slightly increase the fare, not necessarily by 50%, but slight increment of the fare and then reduction of the commission, it will balance out. But in this instance, they keep increasing and further reducing the fare. Now, let me make it clear that in the first instance, the pricing template is not stable. Today, they can tell you, and this is not about surge, by the way. Surge is different. You go for a trip, let's say from here to Eliozu, for example, 2,000 naira. No surge, the same weather, everything is still the same. In the next 30 minutes or in the next 15 minutes, the same trip of 2,000 will now decrease to 1,700. The same trip much later will still decrease. So it is not fixed.
Have you written to the app companies?
Yes, I have said it earlier that we have written to them.
No response?
No response. In fact, one of the app companies said that that the email address, that is the union email address, used in writing to them is not in their system. Therefore, our message cannot be acknowledged. Rather, that the individual writing should write with. So I should write as a person and not write as a union. Now, the reason the union is created is for collective bargaining. Now, if these app companies refuse to recognize the union, refuse to work with the union for the benefit of both the app companies, both the riders, and both the drivers, then we have a problem.
Okay.
Right. Now, like I said earlier, we have petitioned the Rivers State House of Assembly because now we are looking at not just the activities of these app companies, but now how are they being regulated by the government, as it were? These apps operate just the way they like.
Do they have offices in River
Nope.
State?
They do not have physical offices. This is part of the frustration. So you cannot reach them. Now they will tell you, oh, both, for example, would say, oh, that they have an office. Once it was GRA, but then when you get there, almost never open. And sometimes you see one person, then the person suddenly excuse himself, and that's the end. Right? So they claim they have offices, they don't have offices. So you can only relate with them via mail. And guess what? You get automated response. Now, we are talking of indiscriminate blocking of drivers. We are talking of blocking of drivers for as much as riders can choose to lie. There is no proper way of investigating issues as they arise. So for the app companies, they would rather protect their riders even at the detriment of the drivers. A lot of drivers have been blocked based on lies. In fact, there are some riders that have come out to, because anything that has to do with e-hailing, it trends on social media. So now, up and coming TikTokers and all of that have chosen to use e-hailing drivers as victims to trend. And in some cases, we followed them up, gotten them arrested, and after investigation by the police, it's clear that they lied.
All right.
Right. Now, we are looking at insecurity. Our drivers die on a daily. Cars are being snatched by riders, some criminal elements who, have criminal intentions and flaunt themselves as riders. There is no rider profiling by these app companies. This is a situation where you have a rider whose name is Devil.
Okay.
Right? A rider's name is Fire. A rider's name is M. You can even choose to answer fraud. Both who accept. These app companies will accept.
Okay.
So who profiles these riders? On the other hand, drivers are being profiled, even though now that profiling is weak, because there are also some bad eggs within the driver community that do also commit
criminal
crimes.
activities.
Yes, but the issue mainly, the crime mainly is committed by some of the riders that we book, who can commit crime and get away with it.
All right. So I want to ask a question now. Looking at the root causes, shouldn't the drivers be one body, one mind, one thought process? Shouldn't the drivers come together, union or no union, and say, okay, like you've said, if this should escalate wrongly, both the customers and the drivers will be the ones at the receiving end, right? Is there no other peaceful, logical way to go about making these demands? Of course, listening to you and listening to the recording I played earlier, there are similarities, drivers' welfare, can you all not come together and find a peaceful resolution to this problem, basically?
Now, like I said, if these people had physical offices, it's easier to engage, correct? They are nowhere to be found. They are faceless.
But they should be in Lagos, I guess.
Well, we have one in Lagos fighting it out with them
Okay.
there.
Okay.
This issue is all over different states,
Okay.
correct? Now, but every state has their peculiarity.
True.
Now, for the person that was speaking, and they said some other states, have actually gone ahead to include all of that, and there are no consequences. River State, even in our politics, everything about River State is different.
Yeah, unique.
So are the riders, the nature of the people in River State. And Rivers riders are already fighting back. Now, this illegal way of trying to force the app companies to listen will open the union up to litigation.
Okay.
That's a fact.
Okay.
Because upon agreeing to their terms and conditions to operate as a driver, those terms and conditions becomes binding on you as a driver. So now, when certain persons start going against these terms and conditions, understand that Rivers State is filled with people who are very educated and enlightened, and they know the law and they know what to do. If any driver is arrested on this ground and prosecuted, the truth of the matter is that the union will be added as a joinder to the matter. Now, this is part of the reason why the union is making it clear to the entire public that at no point did the union give that instruction. Whatever litigations that will come out of this, because this is certain, it's going to happen. Whatever litigations that will come out of it is not binding on the union.
All right. Comrade Laurentia, what solution are you proposing then?
Now, the solution that I am proposing, which I have taken to Rivers State House of Assembly, the petition. I've given you a copy of that. Kalada. The petition, there are about 12 different types of petition, and for each of the points that were stated, there were prayers attached to it. And each of the petitions, of course, I brought up both international law, labor law, Nigerian law that they have, contravened in while they are operating. Now, part of the things that we are pleading for to Rivers State House of Assembly is that these app companies should be properly regulated, including their operations, including the safety and security of drivers, including their modus operandi with regards to blocking and not blocking, conflict resolution. And that also includes, we are pushing for e-hailing drivers law, e-hailing law in Rivers State, that will protect the rights of drivers and protect the rights of riders, and also regulate these app companies and force them to listen.
All right.
Part of what we are proposing again is probably a house committee that, however they're going to do it, but more like a committee that will involve members of the union, members of the Ministry of Transport, representatives of these app companies, and even Chamber of Commerce, like certain stakeholders within the transport industry, where whatever understanding we reach, whatever laws that are promulgated, they will have oversight function on the implementation of these laws. And if for some reason, for example, a driver has accident while on active trip, and the app companies refuses to do the needful to cater to that driver's welfare or repair the vehicle or whatever as it were, we have a committee that we can present that will look into it, look at what the modalities and what the e-hailing law is saying in Rivers State, and make sure that these laws are enforced and these app companies do the right thing. The truth of the matter is, while we are fighting ill, we cannot go wrong. Like, there is a way you fight, you're standing in your rights, and in fighting, you make mistakes and you become wrong at the end of the day. You understand? And the union is taking a position that is lawful to also avoid litigation, avoid fracas between riders and drivers that may escalate and lead to something else.
I want to take calls, so I've got to ask you two questions quickly.
Yes.
The first one is, in one of the recordings, I think in that meeting that was held on Monday, there was the talk about Bolt blocking drivers who increase prices, because I saw, a memo by Bolt to some user on social media that they did not authorize any increase in price. Now, if that be the case, the Bolt drivers in that meeting, that town hall meeting, said they are not afraid of, being blocked, but what they would do for those in your faction who refuse to increase price, they would, find a way to make sure you people are also blocked.
To start reporting.
So everybody is blocked, because
that is the demonic thing about this. You see, that's what I'm saying. In trying to be right, you become wrong. When you do things, when the foundation is wrong, your whatever intention you're doing, however you're going about it, is wrong. You do worse things to enforce what you're doing. Now, make it make sense to me how drivers are in this together, and a faction who is saying, we are going to do illegality in order to make Bolt, listen to us, which is not even working by what Bolt is saying, right? Now, you're saying that for drivers, that when Bolt blocks them, they will now start booking drivers, they will start booking their fellow drivers
So that they can be blocked as well.
and start reporting them to both for overcharging so they can be blocked as well. Now, tell me how this is making sense. Tell me how it's even logical. Tell me how this is right, even before the face of man and God. Tell me how this is right before the law. Do you understand? How do you defend the indefensible? Now, we have a union recognized by the state government, and the state government already is putting mechanisms in place to address these issues. Why not be patient and follow the correct route?
All right, so I've got very limited time. I was going to ask some more questions, but let's leave it at this. Remember, you can buy your one play ticket. All you have to do is dial *347 *880 *6#. I'll do that draw in about 5-6 minutes. So you probably want to buy your tickets right about now and be part of the 2 lucky winners who would take home 25,000 naira. But let's get back to the boat matter, or the e-hailing app matter, and let's go to the phone lines. You've heard my guest talk, and please, let's respect ourselves. This is a place for decorum, and so we're sharing ideas, we're sharing opinions. I remember conversations in Elo Port Harcourt is so that we can have a conducive environment in the Port Harcourt metropolis. So the numbers to reach the studio with 0817-923 0002, 0817-923 0003, and 0817-923 Our WhatsApp number for your WhatsApp messages 0809-030-6416. I've got 2 questions for you. Have you ever had in recent times any sort of trouble while using hailing in River State? I mean, have you ever? The second question is, how do we go about this? How do we get to a reasonable or a logical conclusion or solution or resolution, whichever is the word for what I'm trying to describe on the show? So to my first call, 92.3. Hello.
Yeah, good morning.
Yes, still morning. Yeah, good morning to you. Welcome. What's your name?
Okay, this is Comrade Ajero E. Emmanuel.
All right, comrade, welcome.
Okay, I'm a driver.
Mm.
I'm also a member of the River E-hailing drivers community.
All right.
Now, it's very, very pertinent. We don't go out there to misinform the public.
How do you mean?
About the stand of the Atwan River State.
All right.
The person seated in that seat was the secretary of River State Atwan.
Okay, so I asked the part now. Please, can we stay with no? Now listen,
Yes, I
listen.
know where I'm going
Okay,
to.
so can we stay with the issues now? We're not yet to talk about your
issues,
factions. Yeah, let's stay with the issues.
When you go to a radio station to misinform the public, it becomes a problem to the public.
So your
Now, I want to say something.
can I say? I don't have time. I don't have time.
Let me
Just go straight to the point, please.
Unionism
Yeah.
is not about fighting your fellow comrade.
Okay.
It's about standing together
All right.
to fight the system that tries to divide or exploit us. And that system is the e-hailing app, which is the both in-drive and the rest that are supposed to come. Now, if we, as a comrade, are going out there to misinterpret or misinform the public, a comrade for that.
So for you the solution, because okay.
We can't take our dirty linen outside.
Okay. All right. Noted. I guess you're saying, there should be some resolution in-house before, going out to fight the system, like you said. But let's move on quickly. 92.3 Nigeria Info. Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Okay, and I greet your guest as well.
Can you be audible? I can hear you clearly.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, better now. Speaking to your mic. Quickly, I don't have time.
Okay,
Quickly.
I greet you and I greet your guest.
All right, quickly, please.
Kennedy.
Yeah.
From what I listened clearly, from what I got from all the conversations, even from the audio, is that the e-hailing companies are on our side. They don't want the drivers to increase, is it not?
Something like that.
Yes. And now these drivers, they say they are, the rate at which they've increased is not even small as for monetary.
Depending on the faction you're talking about.
Yeah, the person in the studio is advocating for them to do the increase, and the e-hailing companies should allow them to do this increase.
Legally,
so
of course.
To stop this. This is not the most painful part, Kennedy. I know everybody has felt it. We all know, okay, let us be sincere. They say, who wants to come to FCC, come with clean hands.
Okay.
When someone books the ride, and you say, okay, from year to year, it's 5,000. Somebody has said that this amount should be changed. Let me present the exact amount. You don't tell me that it's 10,000 when I book the ride and it's 5,000.
All right.
It becomes a serious problem.
All right. All right.
It is a causing problem.
All right.
So let it reflect exactly so that the customer will know that, no, I can't afford this.
So that's what she's saying in the studio, that the app should do it legally so it can reflect on the app and you see what you're supposed to pay.
Yes, Kennedy, we should come to a compromise. Yeah, if you're not making profit, look, if you're doing something and you're not making profit, you have options.
Interesting. Interesting.
To encourage us, Nigerians, to allow you to increase and put more burden on us. If it is easy,
all right.
We all know that to my one is 500 or it's 400. Please, let me talk about this.
All right, Muriel, I'm sorry. I mean, the network cut you off. It's time for my one play. By the way, this conversation will continue after the major news at 12. I'll be back in the studio for another 45 minutes. I will be talking with, the other side of the divide. And, we will continue the conversation so you can, air your views on the conversations we've had this hour and the one we'll have the next hour. But while I'm trying to do the draw, Laurentia, please let's have your final thoughts in, this conversation.
Exactly. The last caller, who is a rider, simply reflected the exact feelings. Like, you can't be a leader without empathy. Now, what we are proposing, the union is saying, is proper regulation, right? And let the app companies reduce their commission. If they reduce their commission, the impact of the pricing will not be felt so much by the drivers. So reduce your commission and then slight increase of fares. I think that should balance things out and riders will not have to complain. But any illegality done by any rider, the union is removing itself from it and will not take any responsibility for the actions of this faction called e-hailing drivers.
All right.
The union will not. So any litigation that will come out of this, because it's bound to happen at the end of the day, this is me saying publicly, the union will not be part of it.
All right. All right. Thank you very much. Hello? Hello? Yeah. All right, I've just had my first winner for the one play draw, but that place is noisy. I probably would do the second part when I come back on the show to have the second part of this conversation. But thank you very much, comrade, for. All right, then.
This is an infomercial.